Today we are identifying and using textual evidence. We are going to discover the difference between what is interesting and what is important. In all our writing, we need to back up our thoughts with evidence from the text, and we need to explain why that evidence connects to our thoughts. Today, we are going to learn how to identify textual evidence and distinguish between what we think is interesting and what is actually important. Later this week, you'll practice more with explaining that textual evidence. In your reader's notebooks, you are asked to come up with 2 ideas, thoughts, or claims about what you are reading. These might be something like, I think in my sister's keeper, the sister with cancer will die because she is sick. I think Jack will end up winning the game because he is the best free throw shooter. Neither of these ideas or inferences mean anything if you don't back it up with evidence. Each time you write down an idea, the first thing I am going to ask is, why do you think that? That's where textual evidence comes in. So how do you identify textual evidence? You will be reading lots of information in your book and taking notes on what you think might be important or catches your interest. However, there's a difference between a detail that's interesting and a detail that's important. Important evidence backs up your claims about the text or forces you to adjust your thoughts because of new information. It teaches you something new about a character or the meaning or theme of the text that pushes you to create new claims. Interesting details catch your attention, but do nothing to back up your claim or change your opinion, and that should read do and not does. And interesting details might teach you something new about a subject or character, but overall, they're not needed to make claims about a text. So let's become detectives. Do you think you can identify the important details that will help you find the main idea? The Louisiana Purchase proved to be one of the smartest business decisions in the entire history of the United States. The purchase doubled in the area of the country and provided territory from which 14 new states were created either wholly or in part. Thomas Jefferson was the president who made the purchase. He was the president who built the estate Monticello. The purchase also gave us control over the mouth of the Mississippi River and opened up the way to foreign trade. The land that was bought was rich in timber, minerals, and natural resources of many kinds. At the time, the land was populated primarily with Native Americans. Finally, the cost of the transaction was unbelievably low. The total of $15 million amounted to about 4 cents an acre. An acre is 43,560 square feet. Can you find the main idea? The main idea. The Louisiana Purchase was one of the smartest business decisions in the entire history of the United States. Now, if you had written that in your notebook, what details can you pull to back up this claim? Pause here and try to find 3 different pieces of textual evidence that are important and back up the main idea that we already identified. Okay, let's see what you came up with. The pieces of evidence that are important enough and relate back to our main idea are: the purchase doubled in the area of the country and provided territory from which 14 new states were created, either wholly or in part. The purchase also gave us control over the mouth of the Mississippi River and opened up the way to foreign trade. The land that was bought was rich in timber, minerals, and natural resources of many kinds. These 3 details show what the United States gained from the Louisiana Purchase. And lastly, finally, the cost of the transaction was unbelievably low. The total $15 million amounted to about 4 cents an acre. This shows what a steal it was for the country to purchase the Louisiana Territory. Between the cost and what we stand to gain by completing the Louisiana Purchase, that made it one of the smartest business decisions in the entire history of the United States. There's extra information in here that's interesting, but we don't need. We don't need to know that it was Thomas Jefferson who made the purchase. We definitely don't need to know that he was the president who built Monticello. That information doesn't back up why the Louisiana Purchase was smart. The land populated with Native Americans also doesn't show why it was a smart business decision. And we also don't need to know that an acre is 43,560 square feet. That's just extra information. Here, I made a graphic organizer where I could pull the complete quotes from the text and then write them into my own words. So again, our main idea. The Louisiana Purchase was one of the smartest business decisions in the entire history of the United States. From the text, we pulled the purchase doubled in the area of the country. The land that was bought was rich in timber, minerals, and natural resources of many kinds, and the cost of the transaction was unbelievably low. When I paraphrase or put it into my own words, I might say, the Louisiana Purchase made the United States much bigger and created more states. The land had many natural resources, and the cost was cheap for what the U.S. got in return, land and resources. Now, in Google Classroom, you will find a link to a NEWSELA article about refugees playing soccer. You will be given the main idea and will have to find 3 pieces of important evidence to support it, just like we did in this video. If you need more instruction, you can watch the second video where I look at a NEWSELA article and find 3 pieces of evidence to back up the main idea myself.